I'm here with Jacques Steinberg, who writes about education for the New York Times and most recently a book called You Are an Ironman, following 6 everyday athletes who want to hear those 4 words, You Are an Ironman. So Jacques, you're here at the 2011 Fort Ironman Arizona. Tell me about the 6 athletes that you followed.
So all 6 athletes were first-timers who were entered in Ironman Arizona 2009, and I followed them for a year prior to the race. And each had a compelling story. One was a financial services manager from San Antonio. He had not been in a gym for 30 years. He had not been to a doctor for 5 years. He was told at the emergency room 2.5 years before the race, you're minutes away from a heart attack. Join a gym. And one thing led to another, and there he was signing up for Ironman Arizona. I wanted to definitely see what would happen to him in that race. Another is a mother of 5. She's 46 years old from Sacramento, California. She referred to her Ironman training as mommy's recess time. I thought it would be really interesting to watch her, in part because she suffered panic attacks during the swim. One was a nurse from North Carolina who was doing the race because she was inspired by her husband. What was so inspiring by her husband? He had had a double lung transplant as a result of cystic fibrosis in 2001. He had gone on to finish Ironman Florida in 2006, and she said that if he did it, she had no excuse not to do it. Then there was a woman from Northridge, California, who had signed up for the race on a dare. There's certainly plenty of people who do that. I thought, what's going to happen to her? One was a school teacher from Phoenix who had a lot of trouble scraping together the money, the $525 for the entry fee. And I thought, well, we tend to think of a lot of Ironman, people who enter the race as being able to afford it. Not everybody hands over that credit card so easily, and he felt a tremendous amount of guilt. And the last person was a fitness center manager from Colorado Springs who had testicular cancer and was in remission, wanted to do the race in part to celebrate that he was alive. And there's certainly a fair number of people who do Ironman as a result of beating back cancer, and I wanted to follow him. And I write the book as a mystery. Are these people going to make it to the starting line? Will they finish? It's not a how-to book. It's more written like a novel, but everything is true.
And we want you to read it, and I'm not giving anything away, but not all 6 people make it to the finish line. But what intrigues you about this Ironman lifestyle that so many people are gravitating toward?
Well, the book is very consciously titled You Are an Ironman, in part because I am not. But I bring to this really the detachment and the eye of a journalist, of an outsider, somebody who is amazingly inspired, has been inspired by this community. I was sort of brought into this world by people in my town in New York, a town north of New York City, who do these races or training for these races. And this book is in part a tribute to them. They're inspiring. I was curious about what it takes, and I wanted to sort of convey to the world at large why people do this and how they do it.
So what surprised you about the day-to-day life of an everyday athlete trying to accomplish this?
Well, I would say that the most surprising thing was actually at the very end, that at least at Ironman Arizona 2009, almost everybody who entered, well over 90%, finished. Now, there were 500 people, about 1 in 6 who had entered, who didn't show up. And they knew they weren't ready. Maybe they had gotten injured. Maybe they were scared. But of those who did show up, almost everybody finished. And that was amazing to me as an outsider to see how so many of those people were obviously carried along by the experience that day.
You know, our motto at Ironman is that anything is possible, but it doesn't come without sacrifice, which I'm sure is something that you recognize when interviewing these athletes.
Sure. So during the course of the book, you're with them for the year leading up to it, and you see enormous sacrifices. You see their families make sacrifices. You see spouses get angry because the father isn't there to do pickup at soccer or ballet. You see, spouses who are there, present at the dining room table, but their thoughts are elsewhere. But you also see families banding together to make this happen. Laura Arnaz, that woman from Sacramento, the mother of 5, her kids really pitched in to make sure that their mom met this dream. Same with Tom Bonnet, that teacher from Phoenix. His family was so inspired watching him do this. So yes, there's a sacrifice, but it also can bring families closer together.
This book came out in September of this year. How can people find this book?
The book is available everywhere, including on Amazon and at Barnes & Noble, and downloads on iPad and Kindle as well.
Jacques Steinberg, he is the author of You Are an Ironman. Check it out. You won't be disappointed.